Lyney is the first limited 5-star character from Genshin Impact's Fontaine era, and the newest version of Genshin 4.0 starts out strong with a plethora of interesting new mechanics. As a character with the unique Numa alignment on his skill, players of all levels of competence will be able to utilize this character. This guide will offer guidance on team building, best weapons and artifacts, and what constellations to aim for if you decide to utilize Lyney to his full potential. First, we need to talk about Fontaine's new mechanics utilizing alignments Uzia and Numa. In the world of Fontaine, all should be in balance. Enemies aligned with the Numa arc will be weakened by attacks of the Uzia alignment, and vice versa. Uzia and Numa are also useful in solving puzzles. Each new character from Fontaine has one of these alignments, and utilizing these arcs will make boss fights much easier than they normally be. Lyney is exceptionally good at one thing and one thing only, being the primary attacker in a mostly Pyro team utilizing powerful charged attacks. His normal attacks, however, are not worth using. Most of his mechanics, including the passive on his signature weapon, care about having multiple teammates that share an element with him, namely Pyro. Normally, Genshin Impact characters are as strong as their ability to utilize reactions. Historically, so-called mono-Pyro teams were defined by their ability to be carried by the powerful duo of Xiangling and Bennett, and characters like Klee don't contribute as much to the team's damage. Lyney changes this trend, making mono-Pyro teams a strong option. We'll start with Lyney's talents. Most 5-star bow wielders have an aim shot with special properties if you hold for an extended period of time. For example, Ganyu's special aim shot is a 1-2 punch of an arrow, followed by an explosion of cryo damage in a small area of effect. Lyney's special prop arrows deal pyro damage to an enemy while creating a large cat-shaped bomb that taunts enemies so they approach it. If Lyney's HP is above 60% as he fires, Lyney will spend HP to gain a prop surplus stack and can hold up to 5 of these for his skill. Bringing a healer then is essential to maximizing the power of Lyney's stacks. After a few seconds, the taunting cat bomb will detonate, dealing impressive pyro damage to enemies caught in the blast and afflicting enemies with a Numa alignment. Without constellations, only one bomb can exist at a time, but you can detonate the first bomb by creating a second one by firing another prop arrow. The talent for normal and charge attacks is by far the biggest contributor of damage in his kit, so you should level this talent as high as possible and as soon as possible. The other talents are more straightforward. Lyney's skill consumes all the stacks he built up to deal massive damage to enemies and detonates any cat bombs currently on the field. Lyney also recovers the health he spent on his prop surplus stacks. His burst transforms him into a cat in a hat in which he moves quickly around the field, eventually detonating and dealing damage to nearby enemies. This creates another cat bomb and gives Lyney a prop surplus stack. Lyney's passives both help his capacity for damage. His first Ascension talent regenerates energy whenever he creates a prop surplus stack with his special aimed shots, while adding an instance of 80% attack damage to the shot. This bonus attack damage is unaffected by crit rate, crit damage, and reactions. Lyney's fourth Ascension passive incentivizes mono Pyro teams by giving a damage bonus whenever he attacks an enemy already affected by Pyro, and even more damage based on how many extra Pyro characters are in the party. This potentially doubles Lyney's damage. Finally, his Exploration passive identifies items unique to Fontaine on the map when they're nearby, making grabbing Ascension materials much easier for the Fontaine characters. Lyney takes lots of time on the field, hogging rotation time. This means your support characters and off-field DPS units should have low field time and high DPS contribution through buffs or damage. He's also built for raw power, so it makes sense to dedicate all your stat investment towards attack percent, pyro damage percent, and crit stats. With this in mind, we can come to an idea of how we should utilize Lyney on the field. We want to maximize the number of prop surplus shots held at once to maximize his skill damage, and his burst creates one of those stacks. This means every rotation will ideally use his burst plus 4 charged attacks. He'll end his field time with his skill, consuming all the stacks accumulated. Before we talk about equipment, the first point of discussion before talking about any part of a character's stat investment is understanding their energy recharge requirements. Typically, your team of 4 characters will have an optimal combination of attacks and character swaps within a certain amount of time. This is called a rotation. Rotations tend to be between 15 and 25 seconds, but some can be even longer or shorter. Most teams have a 20 or 21 second rotation, usually timed around the teammate who has the longest burst cooldown. Rotation length, the energy particles each skill generates, the number of same element characters in a team, and the number of equipped Favonius weapons all affect your character's energy recharge needs. By building enough energy recharge, rotations become clear and efficient, being able to bring out the maximum potential of every character. Since Lyney will be paired with 1 or 2 additional Pyro characters, the most energy recharge you'll have to build to burst every rotation is 150%. With multiple Favonius weapons on support characters or a 3rd Pyro character, these needs can go even smaller. Luckily, Lyney is one of the few exceptions where he doesn't have to burst every rotation to be exceptional at his job, so using his burst every other rotation is acceptable. This is because the bulk of his damage is in his special aimed shots and skill. However, you will miss out on a prop surplus stack. There's only one playstyle to build for: as much damage as possible with aimed shots, categorized as charged attacks. The best weapons will be weapons that provide crit rate or crit damage. This is because crit stats are hard to acquire, usually only through getting lucky with substats when leveling up your artifacts. It's important to understand that the ideal ratio of crit damage to crit rate is always 2 to 1. When you can't get exactly twice as much crit damage as crit rate, it's recommended to favor crit rate. 75 to 150% is a good number to aim for, but more is always better. His signature 5-star weapon, the First Great Magic, is at the top of the list, beating other competing crit weapons by about 15% or more damage. Aqua Simulacra and Thundering Pulse and Skyward Harp are the next best choices. Your best 4-star choices are fortunately all craftable, meaning you don't need to wish at all to acquire them. The Fontaine craftable Song of Stillness is the best balance of comfort and damage, since it buffs Lyney's damage as he's healed. If you have refinements on older craftable bows, Hamayumi offers a nice, mostly unconditional boost at the cost of some percentage points of damage. If your aim for enemy weak spots is exceptional, the craftable Prototype Crescent offers the most damage if you can consistently headshot, but falls far behind in rankings when you can't. There are only 3 4-piece artifact sets worth considering for Lyney, but the newest set, Maishaze Hunter, is head and shoulders the best, offering a considerable amount of charge attack damage and crit rate. While farming for this set, Lyney can settle with 4-piece Lava Walker, 4-piece Wanderer's Troop, or a mix of 2-piece sets that offer either attack percent or pyro damage percent. For Constellations, his first constellation allows each prop arrow to summon 2 cat bombs instead of 1. This is more of a quality of life upgrade than a damage upgrade, and isn't worth the Prima Gems. C2 offers increasing crit damage the longer he stays on field, which is a moderate boost to damage. C3, however, is the first constellation ever to add levels to a normal attack talent and offers a large damage increase. C4 shreds the pyro resistance of enemies hit with prop arrows, moderately increasing damage. C5 enhances his burst talent, which is frankly unimpressive, but C6 is the most important by far, allowing prop arrows to fire a second shot that deals 80% of the original shot's damage, a massive increase to his damage. C3 and C6 should be your stopping points if you decide you want constellations, but none of them are necessary for high-level performance. Finally, let's discuss teammates. Your team requires Bennett, one of the best supports in the game, and a 4-star, an Anemo character holding the 4-piece Viridescent Venerer artifact set, and then either Xiangling as a potent off-field pyro DPS, or some kind of defensive option to make sure Lyney doesn't get hit. A shielder is a great example of this. Zhongli is the best choice for a shielder, as he reduces elemental resistances and has the best shield in the game. A Dia, fully invested in HP and acting as a support, can play a similar but less efficient role. And Layla is a great budget shielding option if you don't have Zhongli. In summation, Lyney is a welcome addition to the roster as a pyro carry with impressive damage despite his restricted team choices. His ideal teammates are also highly contested across other teams, but Lyney offers an impeccable payoff to reward it. For more information on Lyney, make sure to head on over to IGN's Genshin Impact Wiki for the full written version of this build guide. And of course, for everything else video games, stick with IGN.
Let's get this show on the road!